Today's video is going to be all about homeschooling tips for homeschooling an only child. If you are a parent of an only child, if you're on the fence, if you're already homeschooling, join the conversation. I'm going to offer you my tips and what works for me and my family. But yeah, I'm curious to know yours as well if you want to leave those in the comments for me. But let's just get into this video. First of all, I want to thank Jessica over at the Waldock Way for organizing this. She is hosting this lovely topic of videos as she too has an only child. And there's going to be a playlist in the description of other homeschooling families with onlys that have all the tips for you. So let's just get into it. So homeschooling an only child has its challenges. I want to preface this video by saying everything that I'm going to tell you today, you can easily relate this to a family of 5 kids. It's just looks a little different when it's an only, but everything that we do, you do, and vice versa. So my tips are going to be all across the board, but this is the things that help keep my sanity in our homeschool. We do have, our own challenges, just as those with a family of 5 have their challenges. First off, patience. I feel like patience is so under discussed in the homeschool community. I think that for families of all numbers, we have to have patience. But if you look at it from the perspective of having an only child, we are literally their everything. We are home with them all the time. We are their teacher, their friend, their classmate, their game buddy, their sport activity buddy, their ride a bike with buddy, their everything, because they don't have a sibling to just gravitate to do those activities with. So when you are literally your person's person, it tends to be it can be overwhelming. It can be challenging, and you have to find the ways in your homeschool to get your child's independence blossoming. You want your child to have independence, and you want to foster the bond that you guys have together on this one-on-one experience, but you also have to foster the bond of letting go. So in my opinion, what works for me is finding those things that she loves to do and encouraging her to do it on her own. This is crucial, especially when she doesn't, or if your child doesn't have siblings, or your child, maybe you are an only, homeschooling an only, but your other kids are in school. I feel like patience goes hand in hand, because you have to be patient yet hold the boundaries, hold the rules, hold on to everything, because it's just you and that other child. So or you and your child, not other child. So for me, patience is something I have been tested with, but I have to find more of. And whenever I find myself getting impatient, I try to take more alone time. It's like my cue that my bucket is feeling a little empty and I need to refill my bucket. I think it's an important thing to do as an overall adult who's a parent. You have to recognize when you're falling down here and you need to bring yourself back up here. We have to separate our time from our only child. You have to find hobbies. You should have hobbies. You should have things that make you you, and separate yourself from being around your child all the time. It is important to your mental health and to your child's mental health. They need time away from you just as much as you need time away from them. So having the patience, developing and fostering independence is a really, really big thing. for me, when I wake up in the morning, that is typically her independent time. She will make herself breakfast because she's an early riser. She's more than capable of doing that. She'll kind of have some TV time or whatever in the morning to just kind of chill out. So I get a little opportunity to sleep in, and by sleep in, I'm usually awake at 8. But she usually wakes up anywhere between 7 and 8. So just having that small amount of time in the morning, chef's kiss, honestly. Like, it helps me as a mom, and I think it helps her to become more independent in her tasks and things that her responsibilities. She knows that she's awake, she gets herself dressed, she gets herself ready, and she's ready for the day. Then when I wake up, I do the same. We come down here, we school. It's creating that routine. Another really big tip: routine, routine, routine. I can't stress routine enough. Kids enjoy structure. It doesn't have to be in stone, but they do enjoy structure and routine. It gives them an idea of what to expect in the day, what their expectations are as a person, as an individual, and what mine are as a mom and parent. So same thing: mom, parent, adult, wife, whatever. You get the point. So having the patience, fostering the independence, and holding those boundaries and those rules, and creating these routines, because these routines are crucial when it comes to developing the independence. Because, you know, when you're sitting here doing one-on-one school or having some subjects that you're doing together, she knows and expects that. So we don't butt heads as much, I feel like, because the expectations are there. The next thing we do is we socialize with purpose. What I mean by that is co-ops. So we have tried a couple co-ops. We're at a different one this year where we're just doing, it's one day, it's a gym class, and then I think we might join them in something after that, and then we eat together as well. So we're socializing with purpose, meaning I'm not just creating play dates. That is a given, like play dates are play dates. But I am purposely setting out to create these environments for her so that she is getting time with friends and I'm getting time with friends. And, you know, she's still getting that social interaction that's going to teach her all of those skills that are so important, especially to know when you're an only child. I do think it's a myth that, you know, and of course this myth is gone around for anyone who homeschools, is this concern, this worry that we're not socializing our kids. But I don't know about you, but I know personally for me, I was an only child and I was very well socialized. Now, I did go to public school, but I was always around adults, and my child is always around adults. So she can have in-depth conversations with you since she was young, because she's constantly around other adults. So their communication is huge. I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for me and her, but I always felt comfortable. I always felt like an old soul because I was always around adults. I had no problem ordering my own food at a restaurant, whereas she doesn't either. She's very outspoken and has no problem doing those things either. There's no fear there. It's just a thing. So socializing on purpose to me goes above and beyond just scheduling a play date. Other ideas or suggestions could be taking another class, taking an out-school class, taking some other activity where they are purposefully working together in a team environment, or a sport, or karate, for instance. Now, I'm not saying those are types of activities where they could just sit there and socialize the whole time, because that's not the case. So that's why you almost have to find different types of activities that foster the relationships and the friendships and the friendship building and stuff like that, because if they're just following a teacher or instructor the whole time, they don't necessarily have the time to get to make friends, or find out about one another, get to know one another. So it's purposely putting your kid in that to open up the possibilities of friendships and stuff like that. And we talk a lot about friends. We talk a lot about how to be a friend, how to be a good friend. And I know for me, when I was growing up, I kind of did things a little backwards, but I definitely latched on to anybody who was willing to just be my friend. And as an adult, I'm coming to terms with like having to realize that that wasn't necessarily the healthy way. So I'm trying to teach her how to have those healthy friendships and to find the people who are actually good, true friends to her, and not just like people who are like not that nice, but are there. Like, you don't have to be friends with everybody in your circle or everybody in a class or a co-op or whatever. That is totally okay. You have to be kind, respectful, but like, you don't have to be everybody's friend. So learning those social skills and interaction skills are something I'm still teaching her, but I'm opening it up because I'm purposely putting her in those environments. So that is huge. That is how we're always out of the house. We're always doing things. We're always going to a group or a function or an event or something. We join homeschool groups and outings through Facebook in our community, which that's a really big thing, is joining some type of homeschool community. Even if you're an introvert, you have to kind of extrovert. Even if your kid is somewhat introverted, you have to expose them. You have to get them out sometimes. Now, totally your family, your style, whatever, but like, I personally, that's what we have to do in our homeschool. Is we're very extroverted, we enjoy being around people. And the more that she gets older, she becomes a little bit of a homebody. But I have to kind of push and push her into those environments, which is, it's fine. Everything's fine. Another thing is balancing everything. That's why routine to me is super crucial, because that balance for life has to be there. She has to know when I'm going to be mom and when I'm going to be friend, and the balance of time and just spending the time with her, but having that time apart, whether it's going to the gym and having that time for myself, or her going to her friends and me having that time to myself. The balance is so important to my sanity, to her sanity. You have to have the balance. They need their space, they need their quiet time, just as I need my space and I need my quiet time. So yeah, thing that I've also kind of already touched on is just connecting through technology. There are so many types of ways to connect through technology these days, like OutSchool, and these different types of apps. I know the kids who play Minecraft, those are still building connections, even though they're different from what we were used to growing up. The options are essentially endless. Now, this obviously depends on where you live, if you have internet in your house, and stuff like that. But even at the libraries, I know they will host like certain events, or the park district and stuff like that. Get your child involved. If they have an interest, like, I try my hardest to get her involved in the things that she's interested in. So that incorporates these social opportunities as well. Lastly, one of my most favorite tips to give out is take the field trips. Take the field trips. You have one child. If you have one child, they are less expensive to go on the fun things than if you were to have like 5 kids you had to pay for. It's easier for us to just pack up and go than if you had a whole family who one kid might have soccer or one kid might have piano. We have more of a flexible schedule because it's just her schedule, obviously, and mine too, but hers comes before mine, if you know what I mean. But anyways, That's just any parent. But we have a very flexible schedule to be able to just pick up and go. And I love to explore. I love to go to the forest preserves. We go on bike rides and we just go. We pick up our stuff and go, or we meet other people and we go to a museum. We live in Illinois. We have museums and all kinds of, we have everything. So planning and just getting out and doing the adventurous things. We're coming into fall. We're going to have the pumpkin farms and the activities that go along with that. And we're going to have maybe needing to take her to her first haunted house. We'll see. I don't know. I don't even know if mom can handle a haunted house, but just field trips like that. That is something that I feel as a homeschool parent of any amount of kids is really part purpose in homeschool, right? Because we could just pick up, go on vacation whenever we want. We could be flexible with our schedule, and that learning doesn't always have to be sitting at a table with a textbook or a regular book or paper. Just getting out and seeing the world and exploring it is so much. Let's see, did I cover all of my things here? Yeah, so I've already kind of discussed this a little bit, but when you have an only child, you are fostering adult-like conversations because they are typically around other adults. So they are typically more mature and they're able to have those conversations. That's a great skill to have. And any time that I can get her to answer a question or speak up at a public place, like like try to get her to be comfortable in those settings. Also embrace the calm. We do not have distractions. It is so easy in other environments or other families. I feel like they get distracted because there's a sibling or there's, someone's melting down or you're having to wait for a nap time, so to say. But with us in our only child household, we embrace the calm. We embrace the quietness, the stillness. We could kind of develop our own environment here because it's just me and her. So we have our routine down. We get down here, we get to school, we get done, or we have something going on, we go do it, but we always can typically stay focused. Now, I'm not saying it's all the time. We're not always focused. We do have distractions, but I feel like because I could customize her learning environment just a little bit easier, so it kind of eliminates some of those distractions. Well, thank you so much to Jessica over at the Waldock Way. Again, please go check out her channel and the playlist down below to offer you all these tips and things for homeschooling an only child. It is doable. You can do it. It's a challenge, but it's no different of a challenge than someone who may have 2, 3, 4, or 5 kids. It really is not. You can do it. You just have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to step out of the box, and you have to have boundaries and balance and, independence, and you're fostering all of these things and creating these bonds. But I promise you can do it, and it's totally worth it. Anyways, let me know in the comments if you have an only child. Let's join the community together. Follow me over on Instagram as well. And let's start the conversation. What are some of the tips for homeschooling and only? Leave them down below. I'll see you in my next video.